I got a special co-host today, and we are going to talk about fatherhood, credit card processing, and some other special things, you guys. So we're going to go ahead, get ready, and dive right in right now. All right. So thanks again for tuning in. Listen, if you guys are catching us live, put hashtag live and let us know where you're tuning from. And if you're catching us on the replay, go ahead and put hashtag replay and let us know where you're tuning in from. I want to thank you for showing up today. With that, I want to introduce to you someone special, a really good friend of mine, someone I've known for many years. We actually went to high school together, and he is a proud father, an entrepreneur, and a Christian. And it's just really a blessing to connect with like-minded minds and other entrepreneurs who have a heart to give back, a heart to give. And so I want to introduce my good friend, Mr. Stepven Morris.
What's up, man? What's going on? How's everything going?
It's going well, man. Going well. Thank you for
Good,
having.
good.
Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for being my co-host. Can't wait
No
to dive
problem.
in. But yeah, man, we've been friends for a very long time, and going back to high school. So I want to shout out to August Martin. So anybody
All
from
right, go
August Martin,
Falcons.
Martin Falcons, comments, all of y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully we catch some Martin people from from joining forces today. So
If,
shout
if
out to
not,
all.
then that means if we don't get any Martin people on, that means we didn't really do well there. They better chop in.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, man, it's been great connecting with you again, and I want to share with what you've been up to, man. It's one of the things that we've connected on is the relationships we have with our daughters and our my daughter's heart and your daughter's heart to give back.
Mhm.
And I've learned that you have started this dance. How many years have you been doing it?
Well, the funny thing is, this is actually our first year doing the Sneakeerella Daddy-Daughter Dance. This is actually going to be our first year. The event is going to be on February 22nd. But previous to that, we've done fundraisers and events, and it's simply amazing. I have four children, believe it or not. I have three adult children, and then my wife and I found out you can get pregnant in your 40s. So we have a 12 so we have a 12-year-old that really is just probably one of the most genuine human beings I've ever met. And I'm not saying that just because she's my kid. Trust me, if she was a troublemaker and she was a pain in the butt, I would let you know. But she just has a heart to give, man. And so from age 5, she did a lemonade stand, and she raised, more than $3,000 to buy children in homeless shelters brand new pairs of sneakers. And so now that has cultivated into her being 12. She's a little bit too big to do a lemonade stand. So she said, Dad, I want to put together a daddy-daughter dance, because that will be a great way for us to have something going forward as I'm to a teenager and a young lady, and we can still do a fundraising activity to be able to help those that are less fortunate. So she's been featured on the news. Department of Social Services, they love us every year because we are pouring into those organizations. We have another organization here locally called the Nancy K. Perry Women's Shelter, which is a shelter for women that unfortunately are abused. And a lot of times in the middle of the night, they have to run out and get away from their abusers. And then when they go to these shelters, the kids don't really have the shoes, and they're getting hand-me-downs. So Stevie just has a passion to really change the world. And as parents, we got to cultivate that. I mean, I know you're doing that with Sydney, and it's just amazing just to see a generation of young people that want to make this world a better
Yes,
place. So
yes.
appreciate
And
that, man.
that's what I really connected, because Sydney has a heart. Doing the Lion King, she got to see homeless people in New York, and she'd want to give them, and many times she did. And I remember this one time specifically, um, she saw a homeless person who was also disabled, and
Right.
she went to give some money, but she was given it like a $20 bill, and that was probably like the biggest thing that that person got that day, and they just couldn't believe it and started crying. And
Right.
she's always been that way. And so I really like the fact that you guys are putting on this ball. And with that, it actually made the news, and I want to share that news clip with everyone.
Sure.
To raise money for children in need. Now, the ball will be held on February 22nd from 5 to 9. The dance is $40 per couple and $10 each for additional daughters. From 5 to 6 p.m., mothers are encouraged to take pictures of the father and daughters. From 6 to 9, there will be delicious treats, dancing, music, and memories. Stepven Morris says his 12-year-old daughter, Stevie, came up with a fundraising event to make sure many children could have a brand new pair of shoes.
Well, I figure that everybody should have a pair of shoes, and also, like, some people can't afford these things, and it's really nice that, like, sometimes I like it when it's kind of nice when people give back to charity.
She wants the ability to be able to help other people and just know that she's doing the best she can with her talents and her abilities.
You can also sponsor a child who needs a chaperone to attend the event.
Yeah, so tell us about the dance, and tell us what if there's anything you need, how we can help.
I mean, honestly, we need as many donors as possible. Even though the dance is at a point where we're probably about 50 tickets out from selling out the event, so we got another week and a half. Actually, tomorrow we will be 10 days away from the event. But what we want is the ability for people that want to donate a ticket. Like if you can spare $40. The whole purpose is for dads and daughters and granddads and granddaughters to be able to celebrate and for daughters to see how men are supposed to treat them when they go out. Now, here's the thing. This is the reason why we need the public's help, because unfortunately, there are some little girls that do not have their dads, whether the dad is not around or the dad is deceased. They still want to go to this event. And so we have men that are on standby. We have some fraternity brothers from Omega Psi Phi fraternity that we can ask that would not mind chaperoning a little girl to this event. So it's a fundraiser, but it's also something that we want to create memories for. So that way, as girls get older, they know what to expect when they go on their first date or when they go out, that a man is supposed to open the door for them to get out the car, that they're supposed to pull out their chair for them to sit down. So dads, it allows, because truth be told, and you're a dad as well, Greg, the first person your daughter ever falls in love with is you, you know? And so that's the first word that most babies say out of their mouth is dada. And so we just wanted to create something that not only is a fundraiser that can give back to charities, but it's also going to be something long lasting that little girls, and the funny thing is my 28-year-old daughter asked me to take her to this too. So I got my old daughters and my young daughters going to this event. And we just wanted to be able to be where something where it could be memorable for fathers and daughters. One of my good friends is bringing 6 of his granddaughters to this event. So it's all ages, all scopes. But where we need help is really just people that want to help sponsor a ticket, so that way someone can enjoy the event. And even if they don't sponsor the ticket, the funds will be used to buy the sneakers for the homeless shelter. So every dime is going to go towards a good cause.
Listen, I put a URL up on the screen that will allow those who can donate to go to your donation page. I made it real simple. It's just gregurl.com/dance. So if you're able to give, listen, please go ahead and do that. And, you are a girl dad. I'm a girl dad. And even our co-host, Jerry, who's not here, he is also a girl dad. So, for this, February, right before Valentine's Day, we want you guys to help us spread this gift of love and sharing. So we need your help with that. So gregurl.com.
That means a lot to me, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Listen, man, we're entrepreneurs. We're very well connected, and sometimes you just got to ask, say, hey, this is what I need help with. And so if you guys can help, please go ahead. It would really mean a lot. Now, I give resources all the time. I've been finding things and sharing with you guys for years. So if you know, and I typically don't ask for anything, but this time I'm asking. Listen, if you guys can help out my man Steve with his daddy-daughter dance, I'd appreciate it. He's actually inspired me. Me and my wife are talking about doing one here. And so next year we will probably have our own that we will be asking for. But for this year, for right now, coming up this month, later this month, go ahead and help us out. Again, it's Black History Month, so you're going to help out, some Black entrepreneurs, and we appreciate that. Again, all three of us, me, myself, Jerry, and Mr. Stepven Morris, with
Appreciate
this.
it,
So,
man. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
man.
All
I
right, cool.
appreciate
So,
it.
listen, man, let's talk. Let's shift gears just a little bit, and talk about business for a little bit. So, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 12 years old, and it's funny we started talking about when we first started accepting
I
credit
don't know how
cards.
you did that. Oh, I knew you since high school. I should have been borrowing money from you back then.
It's funny because nobody was just taking me seriously in high school, but I was dead serious. Yeah,
Was
man.
killing it.
Yeah, man. I was part of a nutritional supplement company, and I was talking to people about nutritional supplements, and being an athlete. It all kind of worked
Mhm.
into my favor. But that's when I also learned how to talk to people and how to sell. Is going way back then. I remember doing meetings in hotels,
Oh my God.
and I remember the first time with a very similar company that we started taking credit cards, and we had something called a
Mhm.
CVS phone, and it was this white phone,
Yes.
and you could actually swipe the cards, or you could enter the numbers on the keypad if you did some other stuff, and you could enter the amount, you could enter the card number, and it would tell you whether it was processed or not, whether it went through or not over the phone. Many moons ago, but back then, and this is 90s, right? 96, 97, some, yeah, around
Yeah.
there.
96 is when I actually got into the business. So you're right.
Yeah. So back then we were selling nutritional supplements over the internet, and on the internet, a lot of people at that time, because the SSL being secure, it wasn't a thing. That wasn't even a thing. People would either
Right.
put their credit card number in a form and we could see the number and enter it, or they would call us on the
Correct.
phone and they'd give it to us over the phone. So anyway,
Correct.
blast from the past. That's how we got started. But tell us about your journey and how you got started in the business that you're in, which is credit card processing.
Sure. Sure. I got started in payments back right after college. It was back then. It's like you said, we used to write down the numbers. They used to have a thing called the knuckle buster, and you would put the credit card on the brick and run the image over it. And then you would take the receipt, put it in the deposit bag, and deposit it in the overnight box. And you would get your money 11 days later. That's when I started in the industry.
Wow.
And so now we're paying for stuff with our smartwatches, with our smartphones. And so the technology piece of what we do is truly migrating because, truth be told, let's be honest, Greg, the average 30-year-old, they don't write checks anymore. Like, remember when we opened up a bank account, they would say, well, do you want the Scooby-Doo checks or do you want the Garfield check? Those days are over. They don't even give you checks anymore. Everything is zeros and ones. So they give you a debit card now, or they give you a virtual card. Like, we didn't hear these terms back in the 90s and early 2000s. And so now my journey has been, I'm kind of the old man now. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. And the crazy part about this is I got into this industry because of my son. I was a young dad, 25 years old, 23, 24 years old. And I got into this industry because really was just based on someone dared me to do it. We used to call and telemarket out of the phone book. This is before the internet. This is when the AOL dish used to come in the mail. So that's how old I am. And it's amazing because my son is the reason why I got into payments, and now he's actually doing credit card processing out in Orlando. So my point is, I've been doing this a long time. All I really know is credit card processing. And the crazy part about it is what we do very simply in layman's terms is we take money off of your credit or debit card and we put it into the account of the business owner. And there's a lot of rates and fees that I don't think a lot of businesses understand. But it's really based on three factors. And I'll give you those three factors real quick. Number one, what are you selling? Number two, how are you taking the payment? And number three, what is the risk of that payment being charged back? Your rate is determined simply on that. And you'd be amazed at how many people just don't know the simple science of taking payments. But as we move towards, going towards 2030, this is going to be the way it is. Nobody carries cash anymore. So everything is really done on credit card processing and payments. And as I get older, it's just amazing just to see how it's going. The next step, unfortunately, is biometrics. We're paying for stuff with our retina and our thumbprint, but I'll leave that for another technology.
So let's break it down and step back, right? So,
okay.
For a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'll tell you how I started, and so outside of the CVS phone, which is a unique case in itself, but that was because of the company we were associated with. But how I really got started was PayPal, right? And so, what are the risk and concerns for someone who may be looking at PayPal, Stripe, or Square, or some of those ones that are kind of easier to get started with?
Right. Well, I want you guys to Google the word. It's called aggregator. When you watch this, or when you finish watching this interview, PayPal, Stripe, and Square, they're called aggregators. What that means is they don't actually do any underwriting up front. They'll approve anybody to process payments. But here's the downside with this. It's great to get started, but if you run a transaction that's outside of their wheelhouse, they will hold your money. And that's usually the main complaint that we get when it comes to working with those type of entities. We are a true credit card processing platform, or what we call an ISO, an independent sales office. We all get our pricing from the same place. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover, they're all publicly traded. So they all give the same price to everyone. The problem is most people don't do their research to make sure that they should be paying the rate that's associated with their business. A lot of times, your credit card processing rates are determined by what's called a SIC code, a SIC code. So if you're a veterinarian, you're not going to pay what the liquor store is paying. If you're a liquor store, you're not going to pay what the pawn shop is paying. So many times, and it's so funny, Greg, because we will do our research on everything except this particular topic. If I went to go buy a car, right? If I wanted to buy a car right now, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to go on YouTube. I'm going to research the car. I'm going to look at the Kelly Blue Book value. I'm going to watch TikTok videos on the car. So by the time I go to the dealership floor, I probably know way more about that car than the salesperson. But we don't do it when it comes to payment processing. We go with Square, Stripe, and PayPal because they've spent the most money on SEO marketing, and my friend down the street has it. But your friend may have a different business model than what you have, and that's why it's important to really do your deep dive research just before you sign up with anything.
Yeah. So I have a business colleague. I hope he's listening. Shout out to the mad scientist Charles Blair. But
the mad scientist.
Yeah, he's a crazy marketer, man. This guy is amazing. But many years ago, he was doing his business, and I told him, I said, hey man, you may want to be careful with PayPal because I've been hearing that they've been locking people's money up. And he was like, no, I've been with them. I'm fine. And I was like, okay. And then literally 2 months, he called, he said, man, I really should have listened to you. He said, I really should have listened to you because they froze his account. And once and I've heard of it happening to entrepreneurs. It's never happened to me, but I started off with PayPal, but then I graduated to a merchant account.
Can I tell you the best time? And there's nothing wrong with starting out with PayPal, Stripe, and Square. There's nothing wrong starting out. That's the key word, starting out with them. Here's when you want to move to your own, what I call big boy merchant account or big girl merchant account. When you start pulling in around $10,000 to $20,000 a month, you don't want to be on that platform anymore because you have more negotiating power when you go independent. And a lot of people think, well, 10,000 is a lot of money. It's really not. If you take 10,000 a month and you divide that by 4 weeks in a year, that's 2,500 a week or $500 a day. If you're doing $500 a day, you have economic power to pick a better platform for a better processing rate. And it's all about doing your research. Here's the thing. You can go on Google and type in interchange rates 2025. Every year, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover, they have to release that information to the public. Remember, they're publicly traded companies, so they have to release that information. If you type in interchange chart for your business or your SIC code, it'll tell you what the price is for your industry. But because we don't do our research, we get caught up, and next thing you know, you're paying 3.5%, 4%. I've actually had a couple of clients paying 4.2. I'm like, the interchange is not that high. So my point is, start off with those guys, but then as your revenue increases, start to go independent, because they may require you to do underwriting, but truth be told, it's going to protect you in the long run, where you have a live human being that handles your money. And let's be honest, they will hold your money. You will have a hard time getting in contact with someone to find out why, and they're going to earn interest on it while they're waiting. I've seen businesses, they hold their money for 90 days. Some businesses, they've held the money for 180 days. You can't operate effectively without good capital cash flow.
I mean, they hold the money that's in there, but then you can't get any new money coming in until you get something else.
Exactly. And so now all your other transactions are held up. So
yeah,
I'm sure this is something that everyone can relate to that has used that platform. If you haven't experienced that, you will.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. So let me ask you specifically about people who are processing online, who have a CRM platform like Go High Level. I know you kind of work with some people who are like, what are some of the things that you see that most entrepreneurs should be aware of if they have a CRM like Go High Level, and why they should either talk to you or someone about their credit card processing?
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not advocating for people just to talk to me, but you should talk to someone that can work with, because I love Go High Level. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm a Go High Level customer. And I think you guys that are promoting Go High Level with your agency, it's a great platform. Always changing though, but great platform nonetheless. But the thing I like about Go High Level is they don't pigeonhole you on the payment side to just use Stripe, right? You got Authorize.net, you got NMI. Most outside processing companies, they work with those two gateways. Now, those gateways, you have to make sure that they're going to meet the needs of your business. That's the first thing. The payments piece is easy. It has to make sure that what you're looking to do with your agency, you got to make sure that that works first, because Greg and I were talking about the automatic recur billing on Authorize.net. It's kind of clunky. You know, even though you're getting a lower rate, if the solution is clunky, it's not going to work for you. But I like the fact that Go High Level will allow you to pretty much pick who you want. And that's what you want in business. You want freedom of choice. You don't want the ability to have this one product stuffed down my throat in order for my CRM and the functionalities of my business to work. You want to be able to have those choices. So that way, if you want to pass the fee to the public, that's a platform called dual pricing. You have that option. If you don't want it and you just want a lower rate, that's an option as well. But I like the fact that Go High Level gives that option, because now you have a choice. You're not just stuck using one particular platform that may cost you thousands of dollars in the long run. So that part on the Go High Level portion, I'm a fan of that. I wish other CRMs would be able to do that, but that's a conversation that you have to have with the person running that back end.
Nice. Oh man, I just realized we brought up we had you with the wrong name, man. You're not
right.
Jerry. I just saw that. It's all good.
I mean, Jerry, what are you doing? Where are you public speaking at, Jerry? You're supposed to be here.
Listen, man. So let's do this. Should people, and this is, I just want to put this out there. Should people look at their existing rate, and could they save money if? Can you? Let me ask you this. Let me ask it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Can 9 times out of 10 you save someone money on their credit card processing?
I'm going to say depends, but I'll say 90% of the time, yes. I will say that.
Awesome.
Because like I said, we all get every credit. I want you guys to take this. If you don't take anything else from this interview, every credit card processing platform and aggregator gets their pricing from the same place, right? It's the markup of the processing fees that the processor is charging you is where I can show savings. So, prime example, if I'm Walmart and let's say, Greg, you're Best Buy, but we get our TVs from Samsung, as wholesalers, we're going to get the same price. But if you're Best Buy and you sell, let's say we buy the TVs for $100 and you sell it for $200 and I sell it for $175, you're making more because you marked it up higher. It's the same thing with these processing companies. So when I get a statement, what I look at is the interchange cost, and then I also look at what the profitability is of what the processing company is charging. Here's another thing. If you are doing credit card processing through your bank, you're probably paying some high rates because the banks don't do processing in-house. They farm it out to a company like ours and they add their rate on top. So I'm not always I don't want to use the word cheap, but I can usually cut a statement up very quickly and either match it or beat it. But remember, it's all about how you take the payments. Sometimes you can switch somebody from being a card not present to a card present situation, and that will lower their rate dramatically. But that's where education goes. And here's another thing. I'll give this as another tip. You want to have someone review your statement, if not twice a year, once a year. A lot of times, interchange will get lowered for your demographic, but because you signed a contract 4 years ago and you never checked it out, you might be overpaying. So that's another reason why you want to have someone who is, it's almost like with financial advisors. Like your financial advisor, you should sit with them on occasion just to see how the market's doing. It should be the same thing with your merchant services. Don't just trust it to be on autopilot and just be like, well, I've done it this way for 20 years. You might be throwing thousands of dollars out of the window, hundreds of thousands of dollars out of the window by not really checking that every 6 months.
I think that was worth its weight in gold, because I know when I got mine years ago, I know I got a good rate at the time. And I was like, I got a good rate. I'm good. I'm going to go do my business. And I haven't looked at it or thought about it since, until me and you started a conversation. So, if you guys haven't looked at your credit card processing fees and see if you could get a better rate, it's time for you guys to do so. And I highly recommend you reach out to myself or Stepven, so that you can see if you could have some savings. I've done it and I found out that I could make some savings. So I'm sharing the love. I'm sharing the knowledge. There's money in your pocket that could stay in your pocket that you're giving away if you're not taking a good hard look at these things. Because those small little points, a small little percentage adds adds up real fast. And if you want to know something, you talk about go high level. They make their real money on those micro transactions for emails, SMS messages, and things that's going through the automations where they make a fraction of a penny on every single person, on every single thing. It adds up. And the same thing. There's hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that you could be keeping right inside your own processor. So take a look. And especially now, I think it's important because as prices of eggs and everything else is up, and we're dealing with changes in government. We try to get try to keep some more money in your pocket. So it's not always about going out and selling more. Sometimes you got to look at what can I keep more. So if this resonates with you, I highly recommend you reach out to me or Stepven so we can see if we can save you some money with your credit card processing. And with that, man, and like I said,
I'll say one last thing too.
Yes, sir.
Nobody ever got into business to, your ultimate goal is to make money. But like you said, if you can save money and really take an evaluation of where most of your money's going, you actually give yourself a bump in so many different areas. So I do agree with you. Even if it's not talking to me, find someone that you trust that will give you the real deal and give you the education to make sure you're running your business the right way, because it's up to nobody else but you. At the end of the day, it's up to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Stepven Morris, thank you so much for joining me today on Technology Tuesday. Listen, you guys, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you need any help or have questions, reach out to myself or Stepven. And make sure you join the group at technologytuesday.com. where you can get all your questions answered. So have a great week, have a great weekend, and make sure you tune in next week for another special episode.
I'm coming back to watch next week.
Stephen, man, thank you, everybody. Y'all guys have a great evening. Take care.
Thanks for having me.